How you guys doing? This is Carson England, and I want to talk about why I got out of the Army. And I remember joining the Army back in 2016, and I did 7 years, and I just got out in July, and so far I've been working civilian life for a couple months, and I'm just thinking back on why I did get out, because I remember when I first started, right? I loved it, because I did the first 4 years, and I had some really close friends. I made really great memories in Alaska, and I think that's for everyone. I think that your most fun times are gonna come in your first 4, and some people get out after the first 4 because they're miserable that time, and it is miserable, the Army is all about embracing the suck. But if you have some good friends around you, that's it makes it way more fun, getting out of barracks, experiencing life, and because I don't regret joining the military at all. I thought it was an awesome experience for me. It made me grow up a lot, made me see the world, got me out of my small town living, got me out of that sheltered life and that awkwardness of my life, and I was able to be a better person from the Army because of it. But I know it was after the 4 years, I did another 4 because I drank the Kool-Aid. I was in Australia with this HUA company from JBLM, and I remember when they sat down and had to do a contract in Australia, and they're like, "You want to do 2?" And I'm like, "No, I want to do 4." I was all up in it, because I remember in my first 4, I did a lot of shit. I went to Afghanistan, I went to Australia, Japan, Indonesia, Kuwait. I saw the world pretty much, and then I traveled a lot in the States as well, JBLM, I believe so, doing the base training too, Georgia, Alabama, and going to Alaska was an amazing experience. I never thought I would see Alaska. I didn't even know nothing about that place, and then I got there and so many memories. I think one of my biggest goals so far is trying to save up money to go back there, just because there's so much memories and there's a lot of fun things to do. And I even met my my wife now up there, so there's a lot of good things that came from Alaska, and a lot of friends that I had. And I went to Fort Carson, and it was just so different, that last 4 years was a drag. I was surprised I made it because I was losing my shit. And I think for you to really stay in the Army, you gotta really love it. And I just stopped loving it, I stopped wanting to come to work, and everything was just, and it was I did in a different company. When I was in Alaska, I was doing medevac, I was actually helping people out. I was actually really doing a job that is helping the citizens out. But when I went to Fort Carson, it was a whole it was HAC, so it had different companies in it, and you weren't you weren't helping no one out. It was just helping the pilots out, and the pilots, when you take on that, you're on top here and you're looking down on people, you start treating those people like shit, and we had to help those guys out that were pretty shitty, they just had a really arrogance to them, and you can understand why, because they got treated like royalty. But some of them are cool, but a lot of them are pieces of shit. But it just comes with when you're in that top role, and you're looking down on everyone. That just comes with the territory. And they would admit it to you too, that they're cocky as shit, and they get paid more, they get treated way better. And yeah, I just never liked being in aviation, helping the pilots. I really had a dislike towards them. Not the warrants, but I did have a dislike towards the actual officers. And and that came down spiral for me, because I just lost all motivation, because we're just handing out C-cells. It wasn't we were saving anyone. We're just doing their training missions, putting their numbers in, pretty much being a bitch for the pilots. And they just didn't get a lot of respect, even though without us they couldn't fly. Without us they couldn't really do what they needed to do. But it's still when your flight ops no one really gives a shit about you. And I remember when I was in Alaska, I had really cool buddies and everything. I could not find buddies I could hang out with in Fort Carson. The last 4 years, it was just no one wanted to hang. And I think it comes with being married as well, with kids. It's hard to find friends. But there was other people like, you know, their kids too, but it was just hard to like get that relationship to like, okay, let's go hang out, let's do this, you know. And I had some people like that would invite me out, but it wasn't like as close as I was in, you know, in Fort Wayne, right? But I think like a lot of people say when they get out, like they miss the clowns, and I get that to an extent, but like I don't even talk to any of the clowns no more. Even the people I was close with in Alaska, like, you know, we all separated in our own lives. So I got some buddies I still talk to here and there, but we're not as close as we were in the Army. You know, it's kind of like awkward conversations. Like we're still like one buddy, I was gonna move to Florida with him, and we would talk for hours. But then when he found out I wasn't coming to Florida, you know, that relationship kind of dropped. And I just think it's just being people. Like I think people put too much. It's a brotherhood in the military, and I'm like, no, it's people at the end of the day, and you know they're gonna backstab you. I had some people that try to ruin my career when I was about to get out, and it was kind of crazy because like he was trying to put my career in the dirt and trying to kick me out of the military, and then eventually I got moved to a different unit. And the funny part is like I became sergeant like 2 months later after that. And so I think it just like goes to show you like you're not shining in one spot, you go to a different spot, you can shine over there too. And some people see your potential, some people don't. And that's why I didn't really like officers, because I noticed that officers really try to ruin my career when I was in. And I think it's because I didn't kiss their ass like a lot of people did. Like I remember asking some of my homies, like, if this guy wasn't a rank, would you even hang out with him outside? Like, oh, probably not. So I'm like, why are you acting all cool with them? But I understand it comes with, you know, the rank. You gotta respect it. But I didn't. I had a hard time doing that. Yeah, I'm at work right now, and I gotta follow this guy around. Oh shit! Never mind. He's coming around to talk to me, I guess. But. And then I kind of sensed something was going on too. Like I got out too because, you know, we're doing a lot of trainings and we're like getting ready. Like we had like a commander that was like high on going to war and stuff like that. Like talked about like death and all that. And I'm like, I got kids, you know. And I really miss my kids when I'm gone, and I didn't want to go deploy again. I didn't want to see Afghanistan. Like when I was single, when I was in Afghanistan, it was awesome. It was an awesome time. When I have family, like I know I'd miss the hell out of them. And it scared me too because like a lot of families when I was there, like they were so like strong in the beginning, but then when it came to that 6-month term, it seemed like every relationship that came to Afghanistan like was falling apart. All the cheating scandals, all the like people came back to like empty houses, and just all the fighting. You know, I always hear my roommate arguing with his girl all the time after that 6-month term, and I just didn't want to go through that. Like I have all faith and hope in my relationship, you know, but you just never know. You're gone for like 9 months, you don't know what's gonna happen when you come back. And I just didn't want to go through that at all, and I don't want to like go to war because I was sensing a lot of stuff was going on. Like, why are we doing all this training? Like, we don't do this much training ever. Like, we went to NTC twice in a year and everything like that. And then I'm seeing what's going on right now, and I'm like, yeah, something's about to pop off. Because you got countries fighting each other. Like, I noticed, like, in history before, like, once, like, 2 countries fight each other, another country gets involved, or, like, another country gets hit, and so they get involved, and then it just becomes an all-out war. And right now, I just think that World War III is on the verge. But I gotta wait to see what happens. Like, right now, Israel is getting attacked, and then you got Ukraine and Russia, and you got all this talk of China and Taiwan. Like, it's just a lot of shit, and I was just like, yeah, I don't want no part of that. Like, I think our government's really corrupt right now, and it's gonna be hard to get people morale to even want to fight. And I was just tired of the trainings too. Like when I went to Alaska, I was spoiled in Alaska because I didn't go to no training, right? I didn't go. The only training I did was like Indonesia, and Japan, and Australia. That's because I wanted to go there. I volunteered. But in Colorado, it was such a huge wake up call because like no, I don't give a fuck. Like you're going to training. Because usually like in Alaska, like people that went to training are the ones that needed to be trained. They didn't know what was going on. Like Like, they had NTC, but they brought the people that needed to be trained to go over there. I went to Fort Carson, like, no, everyone's coming. I think that's just part of the unit, because I was in Charlie Company in Alaska, so they didn't really need medevac people that much. They need a lot of them. But in HSC, they need everybody there. And they do 12-hour shifts and everything. It was just a different, like, way of, like, morale was over there. And it was just a different thing to me. And I just didn't like I just started not really liking the military. I just didn't love it no more. And, it's a good time. Like, you can have a lot of fun and everything, but it's just a lot of fake love and a lot of, like, you can't really trust them. They want you to trust them. They want you to, like, trust them so you can tell them you're dirt, and then they'll come do a paper trail on you on the side and you won't even know. Like, we had that happen a couple of times. We had an office snitch, and then he was like, because the sergeant even told us, like, straight up, like, 'cause he was in a different building. He's like, I know everything that goes on in this office. Like, you guys talk, I hear about it tomorrow. And we realized his office snitch was when we got him out of there. But then there's still talk, because everyone talks in the military. It's all about, because you can't fight. Like, if you think you can fight in the military, like, you're dumb. Unless you're like infantry or something. I don't know how that goes. I don't want to talk for them. But aviation, if you fight, yeah, you're gonna get in huge trouble. You know what I mean? And I just didn't like it no more. Just didn't feel appreciated. Just didn't feel like, like, even though I got the sergeant rank, I felt like it was a way for me to stay in the military. And I didn't want to go like that. And then just a progression, like when you're in the military, you got to keep progressing. And you get sergeant, all right, now you need to get staff sergeant. Now you need to figure out how you're going to get to school down that in whatever state, And I didn't want to do that either. Like, I didn't want to be away from my family at all. Like, once I had kids and my wife, that was, like, the most important to me. In the military, it's like, you need a balance. Like, usually they think that military is more important, but to me, my family was more important to the military, because I thought military at the end of the day was just a job. Like, you get your paycheck, you go home, you work, but at the same time, they would overwork you sometimes, and you're seeing that you're not getting overtime. I remember in Alaska, I'd do the 24 hours, my 24-hour shifts, and you would still get paid the same guy that probably had his fucking vacation days that week. And yeah, that's why I just didn't love it no more. And it just, yeah, like, people suck. Like, I think the military is awesome, but the people suck. That's the biggest thing I think I'm taking away from this. But yeah, I gotta go help out my buddy. He's up there doing tanks right now. So, all right, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.